Over the years, in video and written work, I've covered the Noel Edmonds oeuvre pretty extensively. Ask your man on the street to name an Edmonds, he'll tell you house party, Christmas presents, deal or no deal. Only a true connoisseur would pick this out of the bag.
Thank you very much and a very good evening. Welcome to Time of Your Life and welcome to the month of September 1968.
Each week, Noel takes a celebrity guest through the news and culture from a special month of their life. Like they've gotten run over and 4 very specific weeks are flashing before their eyes. A hybrid of This Is Your Life, That's Life and reeling in the years. Time of Your Life doesn't know what it wants to be. But as with all good Noel, every second of it is fantastically weird.
And again, good. Stretch those fingers, please. Stretch. Shrug the shoulders.
Come on, pay attention!
I'm always a big fan of demonstrating how times have moved on via music getting rockier. First we're tackling November 77, and Noel's got Star Wars fever, with the lightsaber equivalent of a micro-penis.
Very good evening to you.
He's got all the things you remember from 1977.
Cushions with chains on. Of course, a loaf, which back in 77 would have cost 24.5 pence.
He meets with a punk lady who featured on the cover of In the Gutter, but today is all normal and boring, like the end of The Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Was this the voice of youth crying out? I mean, were you just trying to outrage people?
We were bored, yeah, we were very bored.
John, you're now married. What did you look like in those days?
Black spiky hair, seductionist clothes, blondish trousers.
As you may note from the youth of this pair, though Noel's talking as though punk's some long-forgotten subculture from way back in Britain's distant past, it was 8 years ago, as far away as Theresa May's election win and The Last Jedi is today. There's some living contemporary punks in the studio too.
You know, things move on, they don't remain stagnant. I'd feel a little bit silly looking like that now.
Is it altogether more...
A huge chunk of the show's comprised of copyright newsreel footage that would get me flagged, as Noel revisits the big, and often rather silly news stories of the day.
The hottest show in town. Buxom stripper Serena started her act in the pub with a fire act. But with a sizzle and a puff of smoke, her G-string caught alight.
And the fireman who put it out with a pint of lager is with us tonight. As there's nothing he loves more than a reunion, the stripper's here too.
What about the story? Was it true?
Well, yes, it was actually. Roger, or someone similar to Roger, threw some lager at me.
Yep, it's television all right. Hold on a dang minute. The significance of November 1977 is revealed. It's the month the lads first played the Royal Variety.
It was the Jubilee year.
That's right, it was commemorating the Queen being on the throne for 25 years.
And that's a long time to be sat on the throne. I mean, there were some legends on there. Legends, there was.
Having Eddie on a show is terrific value for money. 50 guests at once.
How deep is your love?
Yes, we are, Callum. That's a cracker. Thank you for being put that together. Okay, then, but... other things I can remember, Prince Charles being in the news.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I think everybody was trying to kiss him.
Yes.
Kiss him all over the world.
Oh, yes.
And I like it.
We're taken back with montages of the sights and sounds of 77, the floral dance over footage of miners' riots, which the audience finds hilarious. King Prince Charles on a skateboard. One welcomes you to Jackass. Hats off to the director with some magnificent framing with a trapeze artist, before Darth Vader puts in an appearance.
May the Force be with you.
And now, a little bit more from November of 1977.
Modern television is dead. Netflix out there spending $100 million on some influencer teeing off on an elderly Mike Tyson, while Noel spent about 10 bob having Sid Little cheer on a dog that's riding a skateboard.
Thank you, Sid.
Yes, all right, no.
All right, there's a black blur coming your way in a moment.
Go on, Nicky. Go on.
Come on, Jeff, come on.
September 69 is dissected for the explorer with a real Beano-ass name, Colonel Blashford Snell.
Emma Kurtz is giving the inside story on colossal cleavages.
When your new girlfriend's a bit more adventurous.
He was taking part in an expedition to previously unexplored parts.
A rowdy audience who shriek with laughter at natives' bottoms in a Raiders of the Lost Ark clip must be beside themselves when Noel remembers the musical Hair, where you could see actual fannies and knobs.
That was a very naughty song, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. I just think that black boys, they seem delicious. I mean, there were 3 of them and they seemed delicious.
I can't let you see it, but they actually play a bit from the original show where Paul Nichol's cock is out, followed by a surprisingly dirty joke about pandas refusing to breed.
And Chi-Chi and Anam were neither coming or going. But
Well, Edmund's shows are usually characteristically sexless. In Time of Your Life he's horny on Maine, and an episode covering 1964 has a studio of old ladies chuckling over footage of topless swimwear and party dresses.
well, I think probably what is the most amazing thing about topless dresses in 1964 is that they only lasted through that summer.
Noel wants to find out if people these days would be shocked by such things. You know, as a socio-cultural experiment, and not just to see some knockers wobbling about.
We've decided that we would create a 1984 topless dress to put it to the test.
Into this audience of pensioners, into British homes at 8:20 in the evening, a real woman with 'em out. "Oh, lovely Bristols, dear." He's having the best night of his life.
So, pleased to meet you. Gentleman over there, you sir, what's your feeling about the topless dress in 1984?
A nice feeling.
General consensus is that society gets more liberal over time, but unless it's for a medical demonstration, nobody would ever pull a gland out on the One show.
Does it offend anybody here? Anybody in the audience actually feel offended to see a garment like that? Not at all.
Do this now, the switchboard would catch fire. I know a satanic ritual when I see one. Cancel the licence fee.
I thought it was absolutely lovely. I mean, if you go on any of the Mediterranean beaches, you see things that are never as pretty as that. She had the most wonderful pair.
This bloke's been binge-watching Time of Your Life.
I sprained my wrist on the final programme.
Dirty Noel's so tit-obsessed. He's even had a massive one drawn on the set behind him. In discussing the shocking 60s, they've got the magazine editor who put this cover out.
I have taken the pill, I have hoisted my skirts to my thighs, dropped them to my ankles, rebelled at university, abused the American embassy, lived with 2 men, married 1, earned my keep, kept my identity, and frankly, I'm lost.
It's almost a recipe for suicide, I would have thought.
And Alf Garnett's in, to illustrate people were definitely laughing at him being a daft old racist, and not just agreeing with everything he said.
They had bred like rabbits. There's over 4 million of them now. I mean, no wonder Michael Foot lost that bloody election. I mean, he's only gone on telly and he's threatened to get 4 million unemployed back to work in 1 year. God, blimey, he's frightened the life out of them, didn't he, eh?
Everything from the past sounds made up.
The new look is being challenged by the hobble. And Charlie Chester finds himself talking to Nelson's column. But for my special guest, it's a rather fascinating time. He goes to Eel Pie Island on the River Thames.
And Danny Dickache was wowing the gooblers on Carnaby Street with his Yeti skin loafers. At least one thing's remained consistent, and that's the exceptional Edmund Segway.
Now back to 1964, where there was a lurgy, as they would say, of a different sort. Do you remember the great typhoid epidemic caused by corned beef? While Beryl Reid was having the time of her life, many hundreds of people around the world were having an absolutely disastrous time. And there was just an unparalleled collection of disasters. They were presented to the... Don't laugh.
Train crashes, plane crashes, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes. What on earth was going on? Thank God for an expert voice.
There's many reasons. You've got to look first of all at the major planets and the position that they're in.
Disappointingly, the campus Christmas Russell goes out of his way to avoid the comic potential of the sky's funniest planet.
The Uranian vibes... Uranus is a planet that links with...
You're a disgrace, though his cuff buttons are the hardest working in showbiz. Britain's first famous puppet, Archie Andrews, makes his return. Never guess he'd started this act on the radio, would you?
Well, after 37 years, you're still in school uniform. I can't believe it. I can. It looks the same uniform.
Also in Beryl's big year, a magician who set himself afire on Hastings Beach. This is goddamn variety. They're not even watching, chatting amongst themselves while a man gobbles flames. Though honestly, the band leader might be more exciting than the fire eater. Have to say, balls of absolute steel going into the music biz with a name like George Melly. If you ever want to feel insane, just listen to the anecdotes of old jazz men.
One side of the face was splendid, you know, it's, peaches and cream. But the other side had long whiskers and gentian violet. He had half impetigo down the side.
I got impetigo because I was rather poverty-stricken in those days and had thought to use a razor blade I'd found stuck to the mantelpiece of my landlord's.
So I tied an onion to my trombone, which was the style at the time.
And he didn't sing then, or at least he wasn't able to, but he used to perform rather strange movements in front of the band, as if he was climbing invisible ropes.
Melly's pal Quentin Crisp joins them on Satellite Link.
He was then what Monsieur Cocteau would have called a little lilac sailor boy.
Crisp's affected manner and voice draws unintentional laughs from the audience, like when Jerry Seinfeld had Kramer apologise on Letterman.
I don't know whether it really was. All the things that Mr. Melly was most interested in were quite beyond me. He believed in, whereas I myself don't believe in art or in culture. I only believe in entertainment.
There's many featured musicians, but when Mary Hopkins shows up, Noel seems to have a bit of a crush.
But their Hey Jude got knocked off the #1 slot by a very, very pretty lady who sang a song like this.
Betty's got a cracking chat-up line ready to go when she's finished.
Looking back, have you been disappointed with what's happened to your career since 1968?
His conversation with Millie Small of My Boy Lollipop fame is one of those interviews where both parties are on completely different wavelengths.
And what have you been doing in all that time?
Well,
I've been doing a lot of things.
Yeah?
I've been preparing myself within.
Yeah, it's fine.
I do paintings. I do a lot of paintings, watercolors, and also on canvas. I brought some here tonight, but I don't think we have time to show it.
No, we don't, because
Yeah.
we've got an awful lot to get through. There was a lot going on 20
I
years
do not
ago.
like the word awful. It's a
Oh.
lot getting through. Awful doesn't sound good. Things are awful.
Weirder Still follows a live performance by PJ Proby.
You've had a pretty rip-roaring lifestyle. Do you regret any of that?
I regret my wallet.
PJ's daughter's in the audience supporting him. Hold on, my mistake, it's his child bride.
What about your very latest venture, which is a much publicised romance? Alison is here in the audience at the moment. Does she go everywhere with you?
Yes, she does.
For context, Alison was a farmer's daughter who Proby met when working as a muck spreader during a lull in his music career. He was 44, she was 14, and lacking parental permission, he whisked her off to Gretna Green when she turned 16. Noel's pretty casual in discussing their relationship, at worst, amused and mildly bewildered.
You're married, of course, aren't you?
Yes.
How long have you been married?
About 3 months now.
Are you going to be able to tame him, Alison, do you think?
Well, I could tame this gonk here. Doesn't it look like you?
Are you going to be able
Very, very normal interview with a 46-year-old rock star and his 16-year-old wife, 10 minutes after a topless woman was parading about.
And that was a much publicised thing with parental opposition.
She was only
and things.
10.
You might be telling the truth there, actually.
Alison would leave Proby on her 17th birthday.
It's I've never lost my career. The people just went on vacation.
Well, I hope they come back for you. Thank you very much indeed
So
for
do I.
joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, PJ Proby.
Speaking of marriage, another episode focuses on a pair who were all over the papers back in 1965 for eloping.
A court order was put on her and sort of on me, forbidding me to take her outside the jurisdiction of the court.
It would have been in 1964 that it had started, when I was 16.
Oh, it's not another PJ Proby thing, is it?
And how did your parents describe the disapproval?
Through religious, John was Catholic and I Jewish.
Thank goodness.
And
And
I,
for
I
mine.
was 24 years of
Yeah,
age. which
exactly.
was a big
He was a lot
difference,
older.
Noel trumps every weird video message on This Is Your Life with this.
Well, Jackie's father certainly disapproved, as we can now see.
My wife became hysterical. I was completely dazed. I just didn't know what to do. And what was going through my mind, that she's a young girl, 16 years old. He was 9 years older than she was. We completely didn't know what to do.
And now here's Frank Bruno sending his regards from backstage at Puss in Boots. They're serenaded by band The Fortunes, and then reunited by phone with an old lady who sheltered them while they were on the run.
You can thank her again, because she's on the end of the telephone. So.
Absolutely wild phone holding technique here.
Hello, Rose.
The way you're thanking me on all this publicity and everything. I didn't want that, Jack.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? And you're still as much in love as ever, you and Jack.
Yeah.
Keep thinking she's going to bite into it like a watermelon.
What a lovely lady.
As Noel cheerily shows off the wedding certificate, Dad tells us how it made him feel.
Things were really getting bad. My wife was getting worse because she hadn't gone into hospital for the operation that she's supposed to have. I was getting very demented, really bad. And on top of that, it was on one of the holiest days of the year.
Some great British Gurners.
You can stop now. It's your nose you swallowed, not your ears.
Edmonds must have been punching the air when they told him what the world gurning champion was called.
With this gentleman being joined by the current world champion, Ron Looney. What a name! Oh, yes!
All right, stop now.
As well as victory here, Ron Looney's got an impeccable IMDb profile, the John Cazale of pulling faces. And for the elopers, it was a happy ending, while we get a guest we finally heard of.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Moore.
A familiar face comes out to do his more, and goes down like a fucking comet.
Now, a lot of people didn't ask me, what's my favourite heavenly body? Well, apart from Wrecker Welsh, it's got to be Milky Way, because I can look at this in between meals without spoiling my appetite. Bit of lunar dust there. Anyway, join me next week when we'll be finding out the difference between a satellite and a Zanussi fridge, and what it's like having asteroids around Uranus. Good night to you.
Hear that, do you, Grant? A show like this would play gangbusters these days, with the "Who remembers your nan scrubbing the back step?" born in the 60s but think they fought in World War II crowd. Noel wheeling out old rock and roll dancers and aerobics teachers.
No, look at that. Watch with Mother for the very young. Who remembers the wooden tops? Oh, yes. Oh.
Get Paddy McGuinness out there running Maureen off driving school through July 1998. Do you remember Star Wars Tazos? Here's Alice DJ with Better Off Alone. People from 1964 remember gonks. They were the hot ticket.
What sort of gonk have you got there, sir?
Well, this is a gonk that my cousin made for me, my cousin Julie, when I was all of 8.
The inventor of the gonk must be a right laugh. Imagine the happy-go-lucky jokester who came up with these.
And the gentleman who started the whole thing, Danny Buckley. Where did you get the idea of gonks?
Well, I used to have a small boutique in off Carnaby Street. And one Christmas, 1963, things were very bad and I was very broke.
Talk about a priceless relic.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Matt Lucas debuts a new character.
Meanwhile, if all smokers would just smoke 1 cigarette less in 10, we'd get somewhere. I'm doing it. I know it's difficult, and won't you try too?
Lance Percival blows it when improvising a calypso about the news.
The Profumo affair. I thought that might come up. That gives you a clue to the year. Mr. Profumo was, Profumo, I think, was war minister. He resigned, but I think I should say this.
No, bloody news.
And, of course, at this time, petrol was still rationed after the Suez Crisis of 1956. But because people were expecting the rationing to be lifted, the roads at Easter were absolutely jammed with people blowing their coupons.
Sod your petrol. I want to hear about this. But this is all carefree reminiscing, the sort that's dangerous territory these days, too afraid to cast a backwards glance, the past now sullied and filled with ghouls. There's no such fears on Time of Your Life, no such horrors with remembering things like the simple bubble car.
Mr. Savile.
Jimmy Savile not talk about sex during a guest appearance challenge.
These are excellent in the pursuit of romance. Excellent in the pursuit of romance because the shape of the front allows you a modicum of leeway.
Jimmy Savile not talk about being let off by the old Bill challenge.
My face was crushed up against the side like that. And he said, "It couldn't be anybody else, could it?" And I said, "Not really." He said, "You'd better go before I see you." I said, "Thank you very much indeed."
You got away with it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, story of my life.
Ironically, in all this looking back to the supposed greatest days of their lives, we do reveal a lost time, back when television was, well, not better, perhaps not even good, but at least interesting. And that's something.
Oh, hello, are you?
Hello, I'm Grandma from Thunderbirds.
Are you?
And watch it or you'll get no apple pie.
Oh.
Goodbye, Quentin. See you soon.
Okay.